The journey has been very fulfilling. It hasn't been easy. I came into government in 2017 as the special advisor on basic education. From there, I became SUBED chairman, and now I'm commissioner of education. It's been a lot of lessons learned along the way, but I also feel quite privileged and humbled that I have been given the opportunity to be part of the vision of His Excellency Governor Obaseki to reenact. The governor will use the word reenact, to reenact education in Edo State. So it's been an incredible journey in the last few years. So when we started the education reform in 2017, in fact, Edo Best was launched in 2018. Prior to that, in 2017, we had to carry out a school census exercise to basically, because His Excellency said, before he does anything, he needs to even know how many learners he has in the system, how many pupils. Then we were focusing on basic. How many pupils do we have? How many teachers do we have? Not how many are on payroll. How many are actually going to work? You know, what is the state of our facilities? How many toilets do we have? How many of them are functioning? How many schools have boreholes? How many schools have sporting facilities, and so on and so forth? So we did that for basic, and that helped a great deal. And we took it a step further, that by the time Edo Best 1.0 launched on April 19th, 2018, by July, we were doing beta testing on the database for primary school pupils. So right now in Edo, all our primary school pupils are captured. They have an ID. When they move from one school to another, we know. But at the secondary, TVET, technical vocational education level, adult education, private schools, special education, even at the tertiary level, we don't have a database. And so it's very difficult to plan, to budget, when you don't know how many students you have in the system, or when the numbers keep fluctuating, right? So today you think you have 300,000, tomorrow you have 500, the next day you have 1 million. How many do you exactly have? And so that led us to one of the first things we are doing now under Edo Best 2.0 is to have a database of all our students, all our learners, from kindergarten to the tertiary level. And so we know when a learner enters into our system, we track them, we know when they exit. Therefore, we are able to plan. For some time now, His Excellency has been telling us in the education sector that he wants to know the best performing 100,000 students. He wants to know who they are. And we should be able to provide this information accurately. So that's why we are currently doing biometric exercise. So far, 45,000, we started with the SS3 students, and 45,000 of them have been captured. Across the state, both public and private schools, we have about 60,000 SS3 students, and 45,000 have been captured. In the process of doing the biometrics, we now also were asked by His Excellency to key into the ongoing state government identification program. So Edo State government is going to have an identification. So every resident, every indigene of Edo State will have an ID. So we are keying into that process. So which means that beyond just simply capturing biometrics, we're also taking their handprints, fingerprints, and their biometric, the data we capture is going to be linked with their NIN. So even if we have teachers in our system who currently don't have the national ID number, through that process, they will also get it, because we are not partnering, or the state government is partnering with Verify Me, which is the entity that is doing the NIN. So by the time we are done with this whole process, we will now have a database of all our learners. We'll be able to track how many students. So it's not what somebody is telling you somewhere. It's not some kind of arbitrary or nebulous data. It's data that is based on facts and accuracy. So are we planning to write GSS3 exam? We should know. a year before, 2 years before, we should be able to project. Right now, we are blind. It's like a jungle out there. We don't even know where they are or who they are. And this is 2022. We should be able to do better, and the governor has tasked us to do better. Thank you for that question. So, particularly in the secondary at the secondary education level, we do have an acute shortage of teachers, and we've actually there's a whole team working on that now. They are finalizing we have to do CBT and assess them, because in secondary school you have to sort of segment the interview process by subject area. So we are not going to be administering the same interview questions or CBT, computer-based test questions, to a physics teacher and a biology teacher. It has to be, So for secondary, we are already working on that. And before September, we are going to at least start with the first phase. At the basic level, I know that SUBEB has hired close to 3,000 teachers to fill existing gaps in primary school and to start filling gaps in junior secondary. And this is being done under the framework of the Edo Star Teaching Fellowship Program. Edo Star stands for Edo Supporting Teachers to Achieve Results. So we have to set up a fellowship program that will enable us to train these teachers for 2 to 3 years before they are now absorbed fully into this public service, because of the quality of the graduates. So essentially, government is now going to train these people, and that's not little money. Do you understand? And that's also one of the reasons why we are now trying to make sure that all this intervention, this will be the last set of people, the last generation of teachers in our system that we have to do all these things for. Because if we go straight to the root, the beginning, which is at the College of Education level, from the admission process to the graduation process, we are going to be very certain that the next group of teachers will not have to go through all this training. So the Edo Star Teaching Fellowship is set up as a fellowship for a reason. They are there for 3 years, and they will, at the end of every year, there's a performance review. Those who don't perform well will have to go. And those who complete the process automatically become full-time government workers.
Thank you.
So with that, we at least, and then the other thing about the Edo Star Teaching Fellowship is that the focus was really rural, okay? Not just rural, but we wanted indigenes of those communities. And so it took a while, because there was like widespread consultation with the then local government chairman, the community leaders. Everybody was involved to say, are these people from your community? So you cannot say, oh no, our children are not there. The reason we are doing that also is to address this issue of teacher transfers once and for all. To all of those who applied in their community, we told them very clearly, so they knew what they were getting into. You are going to start and end your career in that community. So you are from there. So if you are from a riverine community, for instance, you are used to that topography. You are used to that area. You are probably comfortable in a canoe. Whereas a teacher from the city, you transfer to the rural area, they will come and start crying. Oh, they are afraid of drowning, they are afraid of this, they are afraid of that. And the truth of the matter is, you also have to pay heed to those complaints. Because a teacher that is not happy going to work, no matter what you do, they are not going to be effective in the classroom. So the teaching fellowship is meant to, and one of the other things we did was to tell all the communities, if there are teachers you were paying for, community teachers, bring them, let them apply, let us assess them. So after all of that, all that announcement, it took us over a year. So any community that is still saying that they are paying at the basic level, I mean, they need to tell us what they are really saying.
Thank you very much. Now, Doctor, I would like to ask you a question about Edo Best again. Knowing that you were at the forefront of the education reform program, Edo Best, what was it like for you when it was adopted by Rwanda, Lagos State, Kwara State, and other states?
I think it hasn't really sunk in yet, because I came in, I was sort of thrown into the job. I had no mental preparation, because I didn't really know the extent of the problems I would be faced with. So I think even till now, it's just it's like one day at a time, one problem at a time, just focusing on that. So I don't think I have really it has fully sunk in yet. I'm always reminded of this impact when other people bring it up, when people say that, oh, that's true, you know. Certainly it's very fulfilling, because the work we do is hard work. Beyond myself, I would hope that even for my staff and the hundreds of people that are of workers that have been part of this whole journey, that in their own respective way, you know, that they also feel very, very satisfied that even when government means well, there are always claws in the wheels of progress. There are always, whether internally or externally. And unfortunately, as a result of the broken public service spanning decades now, you have a segment of the workers who have this sort of sense of entitlement that government work is an inheritance, so they can earn pay and not work. So there is, in summary, there's a lot to say about Igwebe, but let me just say this. Even before I came into government in 2017, around the time the governor was talking about reforming basic education, part of his plan was that he wasn't just going to stop at retraining the teachers in service, we call them in-service teacher training. That's people already in the system. But he wanted to extend the reform to pre-service teacher training. So those who are in the colleges of education, who are training to become future teachers. Because it was so apparent that in order to sustain whatever reform is happening now, that the next generation of teachers in Edo have to embody what it is to be a sound teacher. They have to know their stuff. They have to write excellently well. And to do that, they also have to be trained well themselves. And so clearly, at the time, we had different colleges of education, everybody doing the same program. There was never enough money. In one case, I think the annual body was at about 700 million. Then I asked, how many students do they have? They had about 300, or between 300 to 400 students. And then I asked, so what was the tuition for the student? 25,000. How are they going to raise the money? How is government? Imagine each institution, minimum of 700 million. Where is the money coming from? And so part of the reform in the education sector was to say, okay, we don't need to have three separate state colleges of education. Let's have one, streamlined into 3 campuses. So those existing 3 were repealed. A new law was passed, creating the Edo State College of Education. Main campus is at Igwebe, focusing on training secondary school teachers and TVET teachers. The other campus is at Abudu, focusing on training basic education teachers, so primary, junior, early childhood. The third campus is at Afuze, focusing on training teachers for physical and health education and special education. The case of Africa is particularly exciting because of the focus on special education. Before now, as far as I know or have been told, there is really only one school in the whole of southern Nigeria, if not the whole country. I think somewhere in New York, for York, where they train teachers for special education. So Edo State didn't have that before now. So now we are having that. Do you understand? So in 2017, all these different colleges of education were told to stop admitting new students because a new college was coming. They wanted the existing students to just finish, graduate, and they go. All that has complied. Igwe did it. So at the time I became commissioner last year, in February of this year, I had a meeting. I called for a meeting of all the union leaders of Igwe to say, okay, what are the issues? They had a long list of grievances. I said, okay, I like to solve problems. I just don't like to talk and argue and fight unnecessarily. I said, okay, before I became commissioner, recruitment for the new college had been done. Had nothing to do with me. So I said, okay, did you people apply? Did they apply? They said no, they were not aware. Then I said, okay, those of you who are interested, who would have participated, others, mind you, other people from other campuses have participated. So to those of you who would like to be considered, I give you 1 week to send me your names, and then I'll go to His Excellency and make an appeal. So they told me that the following week they were having some sort of joint union meeting, something that 1 week would not be enough to give them 2 weeks. I said, okay, in 2 weeks send me your names. Do you know they did it? Only 8 people sent me their names, and they were non-academic staff. At that same meeting, I also told them that I wanted to set up a committee that would work with the ministry to close out Igwebe. Do you understand? Because there is now an Edo State College of Education. Igwebe College of Education no longer exists. Because they refused to participate in that recruitment process, it would have automatically meant that they don't have a job. They had a choice. I mean, it's not by force to be a government worker. You can always go somewhere else, go to the private sector. So we gave them that opportunity, told them why they had to be deployed to the ministry. From the ministry, and then I also said, we are not going to expect you, those of you living at Igwebe, to be commuting to Benin every day to work. For the purposes of administrative management, we have to move you from somewhere to somewhere. From there, we now send you to where other relevant MBAs. So I asked the acting provost to essentially segment the staff. Tell me, of the 149 academic and non-academic, how many live in Benin now? How many don't live in Benin but want to move to Benin? How many live at Igwebe? And how many live in surrounding towns? So when I have that data, then we know what to now do. In the course of all of this back and forth, the students now also contacted me. Mind you, a set of students graduated in February of this year. So the last set of students are graduating before September this year. Those who graduated in February sent me a message, an SOS, that I should please intervene, that they are the result of the exam they wrote in February, as the results have not been released. I was shocked. If the students had not contacted me, I wouldn't even know. So I sent a message through the PS to the acting provost to confirm if that was true. And I was told yes, that the lecturers were not releasing, they were not going to release the results of these students. Meanwhile, they are earning salary. So we gave a deadline by which they should release the results or their names to be removed from payroll. You cannot be earning, chief lecturers earn 500,000 or more a month. That's even more than what a commissioner of education earns. So you cannot earn that kind of money and tell me you will not release the results of students who have paid their tuition, they wrote exam, and you are not going to release it. So they were given three, according to the acting provost, three different extensions of time to get it done. They still didn't do it. So we are going to remove their names from payroll. Those who did not, those who did will remain on payroll. In the course of asking more questions, I now came to discover also that the release of results is not just for this February. It goes as far back as 2017. I mean, come on. Somebody would have gone to school for 3 years or even more, assuming there was strike action, and then they graduated in 2017, and it's 2022, they don't have their result. And I am, as commissioner, I'm supposed to just fold my hands and don't care about the students. So on this issue of release of results, as long as these people were paid, they are going to release those results. They are going to release them. And we have sent, I've already directed my permanent secretary that anybody who did not release any result will no longer get paid until they do so. Government work is not an inheritance. So for the other students, the final set of students of the old or now defunct Igwebe College, they have also been in contact with me, the student leadership, and I've assured them over and over again that they are going to graduate. We will do all we can to ensure they graduate and they get their certificate. No student is going to be, no student's academic career is going to be truncated. No. I mean, that's why we've been waiting, the government has been waiting since 2017. Since 2017. And Igwebe is the main campus. Do you understand? We couldn't even go in to start infrastructural work because people were there. Abudu has been ready since 2020, if not for COVID. That sort of set back our timetable. So I want to use this opportunity to assure the remaining students of the old College of Igwebe that they are going to graduate. I have asked the provost, the acting provost, to send me the list of all these 200 students, their specialization. Right now, the students are not even in school. They are at home or they're supposed to be doing industrial training. In fact, when I met with the lecturer, the leadership of the various groups in February, I think I was a bit naive to have believed them when they told me that they were willing to work with government. They were willing to work with the ministry to ensure that there was a seamless and amicable shutdown of the defunct college. I believed them because I had no reason to doubt. Because what I had said, what I was proposing in February then was this current last set of students, since they are going to be doing industrial training, why don't we bring forward their coursework? Let them do the coursework, then they go for industrial training. By the time they come back end of July or so, it is just to get their certificate and graduate. So they kind of played me here and there. Oh, we'll get back to you, we'll do this, we'll do that. They never did. So the current students will graduate, and nobody is going to fight their way to the new College of Education. This government does not succumb to blackmail. The truth is there for everybody. Any right-thinking individual who really wants the best for this state, who wants the best for the young people of Edo, in terms of high-quality tertiary education, should be able to support what government wants to do. Igwebe is not the first. Edo State School of Health, School of Nursing and Health Sciences was shut down and revamped. Go to that school today. You will not believe when I heard that they currently have over 600 people on their waiting list. I could not believe myself. The same thing was done at Igwebe and the College of Agriculture. So to revamp, we cannot just be having glorified secondary schools and deceive ourselves that we have tertiary institutions. Come on. It's 2022, and these young people are expected to graduate and compete with their peers in other countries. How How do we have somebody graduate from a teaching program in 2022 and they cannot use a computer? I mean, what's a joke? So these are some of the things we are changing. The new Edo State College of Education, the curriculum itself has been revamped. We took the curriculum of the National Council of Colleges of Education and enhanced it. We are saying all our students must be technology compliant. They will all have a laptop. They are going to take research class. If you are a teacher, even if at the primary level, you should understand the rudimentaries of research. They are going to take a writing seminar. Because we already know that many of them are coming in, they themselves are victims of a broken education system. So there needs to be serious remediation work. So we want to bring back the prestige of the teaching profession. We want to professionalize it. Right when you talk to people, they say, the thing is that people who have decent scores don't want to come to the College of Education. So you are now managing people who have 1 or 2 credits, you are even begging them to come. I don't believe in that. If teaching becomes a profession, the way it ought to be, the way it used to be, we want the best, not the worst. We want the best students coming into our schools. And if we are able to do what we have in mind, we are going to see that. We're going to see them come. I mean, even at with the work that has been started in our TVET, Technical Vocational Education subsector, we already had a visiting delegation from Cameroon. Okay? Because the government is saying TVET is no longer about poverty alleviation, bringing students to school and teaching them how to repair mobile phones. Pull that one here. We're talking about wealth creation. What is the local economy of that community that is hosting our TVET school? So how do we set up TVET programs that will support that local economy? These are the things we are thinking about. Yeah? As a result of all this thinking and effort and vision and the record of the governor in education reform so far, GIZ is partnering with the state government to send over 15 TVET teachers to Germany for training. And we have told them, GIZ, thank you for wanting to help us send them to go for training. But we also want a serious linkage between the TVET schools in Germany and our TVET campus at Igwebe. Because we are serious about this. So we have gone beyond the era where a bunch of renegade, anti-intellectual, pseudo-academics who just think they can hold a system on stage just because of their selfish interests. If you have been teaching for several years and you have attained the position of a chief lecturer and you are being asked to participate in a recruitment exercise for the same College of Education, should that not give you automatic advantage over everybody else? So what are you afraid of? If you really know what you are doing and you have been improving yourself all these years. So there's a lot of problems in our tertiary education subsector. And the governor, again, the political will is there, the leadership is there to take the decisions that need to be taken in order to sanitize the system once and for all. I think it hasn't really sunk in yet because I came in, I was sort of thrown into the job. I had no mental preparation because I didn't really know the extent of the problems I would be faced with. So I think even till now, it's like one day at a time, one problem at a time, just focusing on that. So I don't think I have really it has fully sunk in yet. I'm always reminded of this impact when other people bring it up. When people say that, oh, that's true, you know. Certainly, it's very fulfilling. because the work we do is hard work. Beyond myself, I would hope that even for my staff and the hundreds of people that are of workers that have been part of this whole journey, that in their own respective way, that they also feel very, very satisfied that they were able to be part of this. I mean, it's an ongoing journey. At the end of the day, for me, what will make all of this worthwhile is to see appreciable gains in literacy rate level across the state and sustainability of this work. If at the end of the governor's tenure everything falls back to status quo, then it would have been it would be very painful for me. And since I came into government, I keep telling myself and my team members or my staff that we must do whatever we can to avoid or prevent what I call the Dora Akumili effect. Professor Dora Akumili was at NAFDAC, and when she was at NAFDAC, we heard so much about NAFDAC, and then she moved on. It's not clear to me, how much of the stuff she did was sustained. I don't know, but I just know we don't hear as much about NAFDAC as we used to. And so when somebody brought to my attention that not since 1983, during Ogbemudia, have there been this much level of reform activity, reform widespread, robust at the Edo State Ministry of Education. That gave me something to think about. And so it's like, how do we sustain all of this? How do I mentor and coach the next generation of civil servants who will take what we started now, run with it, even improve on it? Is the creation of a linkage between the three campuses of our College of Education and the various boards that are responsible for hiring teachers for those levels of education. For instance, SUBEB, a committee has actually been set up, a linkage committee comprising of the ministry and all these different boards. So basically, SUBEB should be able to go to the College of Education, Abudu, and say, Abudu, based on our data from payroll, we know that by 2021, about 300 or 500 teachers are going to be retiring. And these teachers currently are teaching primary 6, primary 2, or whatever. So this means that the next set of students you are admitting, make sure that they have these requisite skills, right? Then the secondary school board, PPEB, can go to Igwebe and say, by next year, by the following year, by 5 years from now, we are going to have these vacancies in specific subject areas. So when your students you are admitting students now, tell them where to specialize in, so that at the time they are graduating, they have a job. So we are literally linking the consumers of this product, which is the board, with the school. So we want to eliminate this idea of you graduate, you go and study adult education, and you can't find a job. Whereas if somebody told you to go and read biology, maybe you would have spent the time to read biology. So that's why it is very important to us, it's extremely important to Edo State government that the reform of our College of Education is allowed to take place. But at the end of the day, it's not going to benefit me. It's going to benefit the young people of Edo State. And we must make sure that happens.